I don't know how far I got with the previous video I was shooting before the pocket fell down, exposing the company that I work for, so this will probably join on to the other video, depending on how far it got. But anyway, I'll start pretty much on the beginning and see how it goes. See if there's any points I forget. But yeah, or maybe I'll just post this one. Someone left me a link on my under one of my videos saying, "Hey, have you seen this? They've done another Apollo Defectives video, and it was Apollo Defectives 5." I can't remember who posted the link, but thanks whoever it was. Now, at the time I didn't have time to watch it. I sort of flicked through it. I thought it's going to be the usual garbage, you know. And I can't remember if it was in 5 or 6 where they were talking about the plants and the effect on the film and everything else, but what they don't say is that NASA got Eastman Kodak to make them a special film for the missions. I don't know if these guys seriously believe Buzz Aldrin went down to the local chemist and bought a few rolls of film and then put them in put one in an unmodified camera and then took it to the moon. Is that this? I mean, how dumb would you have to be to believe that? But they made, Eastman Kodak made a special film with special emulsions. It was a special thin film. So, you know, unless they've duplicated the formula of the emulsion precisely, unless they've duplicated the modified film precisely with regard its physical attributes, you know, thickness, width, flexibility, its chemical composition, its heat and cold parameters, then they're not demonstrating anything at all. They're not proving anything at all, are they? Anyway, I think that was on 5, but I had a look at Apollo Defectives 6. I watched a bit more of that, and there was a guy on there I've never heard of before called Randy Walsh, and he was saying they didn't have enough thrust to get into orbit. He tells us of his thrust guesstimates, because the only way it couldn't have got into orbit would have been if it if the thrust was lower than what NASA said it was. So it's got to be a thrust guesstimate. It's got to be lower than what they actually said it was. Otherwise, it would have worked. Who would have picked that, eh? And he's saying, "Oh, they lost all the telemetry." Well, I found a video clip that I actually posted under that video that shows the telemetry, the speed, the altitude, where the first stage separates. You can actually watch it. So well, that kills that argument stone dead, doesn't it? What's the other? What's one of the other things? Oh, and Scott Henderson was saying, "Oh, there's a picture of the lunar module on the surface. Look at that antenna. It's pointing. It's not even pointing at the Earth." Again, 2 minutes of research showed that it's actually a radar antenna, not a communications antenna. So you might expect it to be pointing downwards at the moon. You know, they would have used it to come in and land. Everything Scott Henderson says is absolute bloody rubbish. Every single syllable he utters is drivel. Same with Marcus Allen. Marcus Allen will stand on a lectern in front of an audience and say, "Oh, von Braun and co were the Germans that got America to the moon." This is during a presentation where he's telling everybody they never went. Never had an explanation from Marcus Allen on why he might say that. Quite interesting, don't you think? What else was Randy Walsh saying? Oh God, it's all bloody rubbish, but man, it's hard to pick, isn't it? I've asked him for his best argument, and as yet he hasn't posted it. And he said, "Oh, there was something he was keen on debating with me." This was in a comment on the Apollo Defectives 6. So I said, "Okay, perhaps we should forget about Neil. Just come over to my channel and we'll discuss it." And he seemed to think this was me backing down somehow. Well, this is me taking the middleman out of the equation. So if Neil doesn't want to do it, you know, Randy Walsh could come on my channel and we'd have a chat about it. We'll debate it. I can't see how that is backing down. Maybe with his twisted logic, and his logic would have to be twisted not to believe the moon landings actually happened, to come up with that. Makes no sense at all. I didn't have time to look at the YouTube channel yesterday. I was a bit busy, so I did put a response in there saying, you know, how exactly is this backing down? I've asked you to come to my channel and discuss it. So I don't know whether he's responded to that, but I'll see if he has. Be good to get him on the channel and have a bit of a chat with him. I think he's one of these people that says NASA have lost the plans, or the engineers have lost the plans. Well, I was watching Curious Droid the other day. Yesterday, might have been. Curious Droid said that that's nonsense. NASA have all the plans for everything they've ever made, which I think is more likely. Now, I haven't done any research to find out which is true, but when I do, I'll give you the real story. I suspect Curious Droid is right, because the Apollo fake moon landing people fabricate stuff to support their case. They have to, because they gave you the facts, it would be obvious that it actually happened. So, with regards to the F1 engines, apparently they were all slightly different, because in those days they were engineered with slide rules, hand engineered, and then fettled to work exactly as they wanted them to work. And apparently a lot of that skill is lost today. And these days it would just be done completely different. Now, apparently they have CAD engineered an F1B with modern materials and slightly different turbo pump design. But the engineers, fresh engineers, obviously the original F1 was 50 years ago, fresh engineers have got fresh ideas. They wanted to do what they're doing a different way. They're not in a great rush to get back to the moon. So what they've been engineering is the stuff they need for what they're doing at the moment. Makes perfect sense. It's no great. Why would they? I don't see that's any kind of great. Oh, they're not rebuilding F1 engines. Well, if you're going to design a railway locomotive today, you know, you're not going to design one from the 60s, like you're not going to design a steam locomotive. Design a steam locomotive. So anyway, I'll get around to making a response video to this Apollo Defectives 6, where I'll play clips from them, and then I'll play clips from NASA and see what NASA have got to say about the comments they're making. I think one of them was Randy Walsh, and who was saying, do you really think they would do that without any modelling? Well, the software modelling wasn't available in the 60s to do that. The only way to do it was with slide rules, with trial and error. The only way to do it. So they seem to, it's like Marcus Allen with these anomalies, you know. There are none. He won't tell you what the anomalies are. They'll say, oh, this is an anomaly. Apparently there's an explanation for this. He won't tell you what that is, because then the intrigue will disappear. Because you go, oh, of course, yeah. So it appears that even if NASA didn't have the blueprints for the F1 engine, they've got F1 engines kicking around, haven't they? If they wanted to reverse engineer one, they could. But why would you reverse engineer something from 50 years ago? You'd want something, you want to make something more efficient, which apparently the new F1B is. You want it made of more modern materials. Just makes perfect sense. So I don't know where all these fake moon landing morons get their ideas from. Certainly none of them hold any water. I know a couple of them are writing books about it. Maybe I don't know whether they're retired or not, but it may be to get a bit of an income going, maybe by selling books, misleading the gullible. into believing there might be some doubt about this all being done. But when you actually look at it, I mean, those of you who are old enough to remember it all at the time, remember all the ticker tape parades, it was all fake because it was all a show. The Apollo 13, the stuff in the control room, and they're trying to sort it all out. It's all fake, is it? I showed an email from Van Allen saying, you know, the Van Allen belts weren't really an issue. And I say, oh yeah, but how do we know that's from Van Allen? Well, I think there'll be something on the net about, I think that would have been brought to the attention of Mr. Van Allen pretty quickly, and I think that there will be statements out there saying that it wasn't from him, if it really wasn't from him, to be perfectly honest. I mean, it's a fairly hot topic, isn't it? Well, amongst the latter things anyway. And I put up a video clip of Van Allen being interviewed. He was talking about manned space exploration. And he was asked if he would go into space. And he was saying that he didn't think manned exploration was the way to go, but he never made a mention of radiation at all. What he said was it was cheaper and easier to do it with unmanned vehicles, basically. I asked him if he wanted to go into space, and he said no. He said if it was as routine as getting onto a 747, he'd go, but with the space vehicles we got now, no, he wouldn't do it. No mention of radiation. He didn't say, I wouldn't chance it with that radiation. There's no... It's not an issue, you know. I mean, the radiation belts are there. But it's not an insurmountable problem. And if you look at the trajectory of the Apollos, they go through the edge of the Van Allen belts. They're going to be doing it again soon. Although I'm sure the same people will be jumping up and down saying it's all fake, they're not really doing it, it's all been shot at. It'll be interesting to see what they say if the Chinese and the Russians do it. Because I mean they do want to get men back on the moon. Trump said he wants to get men back on the moon within 5 years. Now, I think a lot of this is to do with staking claims for the helium-3 mining. You know, strip mined off the surface, helium-3, or will be. If they can get the fusion reactors working, I'm sure they will. It's only a matter of time. But the Americans are going to be they're going to want to have their flag up there. They're going to want to have their flag, you know, staking their claim. I've got a few clips actually of, you know, from the space race, and there's. Might have been Kennedy saying that he wanted an American flag on the moon, not a Russian one. Khrushchev himself saying it should have been Russian. First man on moon should have been Russian. And Werner von Braun as well. There's a couple of clips of him saying, well, you know, we've got no idea what the Russians are doing, but we think they intend to put a man on the moon, so we consider we are in a race. So we need to get this done. So just, you know, if you doubt it, just watch a few of the documentaries. It'll show you exactly how they did it, and you can hear from the people that actually did the work. You know, the engineers that worked on the project. These are not these armchair idiots that are just giving opinions based on zero understanding of any of the technology. If any of these guys want to send me a book, I'll have a look at it and give an opinion on it. In fact, yeah, send a book. There's a shortage of toilet paper here in Australia at the moment. Anyway, alright, I think that will do. But when I get time, might not be this week, might not be next week, but when I get time, going to make I'll make a response video to their Apollo Defectives, probably 5 and 6 both together, and I'll point out all the inconsistencies. You know, you got what's his name, Henderson, saying they used one rover for all the lunar missions. Well, I've disproved that. proved he's talking rubbish there. I did a video about it, separate video. I might include some clips from that. But then further on in the same thing, in Apollo Defectives 6, he said, oh, they had lots of rovers. You can see they're all different. So really, he needs to make his mind up. It's a picture of the lunar module on the surface. Look at the antenna. It's not even pointing at the Earth. It's a radar antenna. I expect it to be pointing downwards. Everything Henderson says is drivel. Everything Marcus Allen says is drivel. And from what I've heard of what Randy Walsh has to say, it's drivel. Absolute drivel. Anyway, I'll have a look at it tonight and see if he's responded, see if he wants to come over and have a chat about it on the channel. And we'll see if we can't put this fake moon landing nonsense to bed once and for all. As always, thanks for watching.